Kṛṣṇa is the name of this particular energetic expression of life. And the way we pronounce this word, if we look at the English transliteration of the Devanagari, we'll see that there's a dot underneath the R, the S and the N. And when you see a dot underneath something, it means you point your tongue towards the roof of your mouth. Kṛṣṇa. And so the first one, R, with a dot underneath, is actually a vowel. We don't have this vowel in the English language. We look at it and think it must be a semi-vowel or a consonant. We make it by pointing our tongue up towards the roof of the mouth. And when we do this, it actually points towards the fontanelle, which is the place where our spirit or our Atman is said to both enter and leave our being when we are born and when we die. And pointing the tongue up to this area of the mouth activates this area of our being in a way that doesn't happen in the English language, because our tongue is never in this position in the English language. S with a dot underneath is pronounced similarly, with the tongue pointed upwards for the sound sh. So we can hear the difference between sh and sh. Sh. It has a very different resonance to it, much softer resonance. The N is also pronounced with the N with the tongue pointed towards the roof of the mouth. Na, na, Kṛṣṇa. And then we mustn't forget these two very important dots in the Sanskrit language, Visarga, which is pronounced ah. And so really this should have an H with a dot underneath afterwards to make it Kṛṣṇa, which is Kṛṣṇa in his capacity to act in this world. But often you can see why it's easy to happen for an English person. You see all these dots underneath. My goodness, how would you pronounce that? So we kind of get rid of these dots, get rid of the H, stick in an I, and then an H, and then perhaps another A, and then we end up with Kṛṣṇa or Kṛṣṇa, which you can hear has a very different effect in being to Kṛṣṇa. And especially once we know what the word means, the word actually means darkness, which is often a surprise because we think of Kṛṣṇa as the one who's joyous and full of light and has the gopis around him. It comes from the root krush, which means in drawing towards. So he is the one who draws everyone towards him with often with joy and laughter and joviality. But actually his name Kṛṣṇa means darkness. So this is the wonder of the Sanskrit language, that this paradox is held within this word. But this paradox is totally lost when we say Krishna or Kṛṣṇa. We're not holding that paradox, Kṛṣṇa. Also, if we're wanting to invoke this particular quality of being within us, then we need to sound its name. If someone calls me, my name's Lucy, if they call Lucky, I'm not going to respond to their name, to that call, because that's not my name. They need to say Lucy in order for me to respond. Likewise, if we want a response in being to the energy that we're trying to invoke, then we need to call its name, which is Kṛṣṇa. So I hope you enjoy your perhaps new experience of this word, and try it for yourself to see what may get invoked for you when you sound it in this way.